Go ahead and call this meeting to order, the meeting of the Omaha Planning Board. If you could all have a seat, please. Planning Board members that are here today are Jeff Moore, David Rosacker, Chris Rupert, Jorge Sotolongo, Matt Tondel, Patrick Morris, Vice Chair, and I'm Michael Pate, Chairman. Members of the city staff that are in attendance today are Dave Fanslaw, Planning Director, Eric England, Assistant Planning Director, Mike Carter, Current Planning Manager, Jennifer Taylor of the City Law Department, and Kathy Epperson, our Recording Secretary. Our rules of procedure are as follows. Notice of this hearing has been published. Copies of today's agenda are located in the table right here in front of us. You're certainly welcome to come down and pick one up. The cases on the consent agenda will be heard first. Consent cases have been recommended for layover, have already been heard, or are perceived by the Planning Board to be non-controversial. Therefore, they will be read and voted on without the opportunity for you to state your opinion on the case. If you wish to have this case discussed during this hearing, you may remove the case from the consent agenda. To do so, when each consent case is read, I will ask if anyone wants the case removed for discussion. If you do, please stand up and say that you want the case removed. This case will then be heard after we vote on the cases that remained on consent. When the case is heard, you will have the opportunity to come to the podium, clearly state your name and address, and give your testimony at that time. When hearing cases on the regular agenda, the board will first hear from the applicant, and after the applicant states their case, we will hear from the proponents, and then we will hear from the opponents. After both sides are heard, the public hearing will be closed and no additional testimony will be permitted unless a board member requests additional information. While at the podium, please clearly state your name, address, and whom you are represented for the record. Your testimony is very important to us. In the interest of time and courtesy to others, please be short and to the point. We will try to limit each case to 10 minutes. Those directly involved in the case, please speak first. We request that large groups select a spokesperson to represent that group, therefore eliminating repetitive testimony. When giving testimony, please provide new information and try not to repeat what has previously been said. We do ask that speakers and others be treated with courtesy and with respect. In that regard, please remain silent while seated and please turn off your cell phones. Our decision to approve, deny, or continue a case made here today will be forwarded to the City Council for another public hearing and final disposition by the City Council. Conditional use permits are an exception to this rule. The board's decision made here today on conditional use permits are final and not forwarded on to City Council. Lastly, upon the advice of the Law Department, all communications to the board members from attorneys or other interested parties should be transmitted through the Planning Department so that they are made part of the public record. The department will then transmit all that information to the board as well as to the rest of the public. A current copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act can be found in the white binder in this room. I don't have any changes to the consent agenda in front of me, so we'll go ahead and move forward to the consent agenda items. First will be the items that are on consent for approval. And again, if you want one of these cases that I'm reading right now on consent, if you want to discuss those, just please raise your hand and we'll get those on the regular agenda. The first item is case number 5, KC 1225-246. The applicant is Freddie Ellis. It's on consent for approval. The request is preliminary and final plat approval of the Credit Foncier Replat 6, a minor plat inside city limits with approval of a waiver to section 5384A, lot depth. The location is 1514 South 4th Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Okay. Next item is case 7, C1025-245. Address is 6990 Dodge Street, LLC. It's on consent for approval. The request is rezoning from GC to DOD2 MX. Location 6990 Dodge Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? All right. Next is item 8, case C10-00315. Applicant is Omaha Neon Sign Company on consent for approval. The request is approval of a major amendment to the mixed-use development agreement for Elk Creek Pines. The location is northeast of 168th Street and West Maple Road. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next item is item 9, KC 1025-249. Applicant is Mark Sanford on consent for approval. Request is rezoning from R435 to TOD2 MUR along with the repeal of the ACI overlay district. Location is 521 South 38th Avenue. Would anyone like to have this removed? back here? Okay. All right, we'll take that off, and that will be heard after we read consent items. Next is item 10, KC 1025-250. The applicant is Newport Blue Impact LP on consent for approval. The request is rezoning from GI to GC along with expansion of the MCC overlay. Location is 10909 M Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next is item 11, KC 1025-257. Applicant is Mount Moriah Baptist Church on consent for approval. The request is rezoning from R5 to NBD. Property is located within an ACI, Area of Civic Importance Overlay District. The location is 2602 North 24th Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next is item 12, KC 1025-258. Applicant is Nancy Sanchez on consent for approval. Request is rezoning from R4 to R5, and the location is 3026 South 18th Street. Would anyone like to have this removed?
Sir, I did submit a letter. Would I still have to go up and speak? I did submit a letter. It was acknowledged yesterday by email by Mr. Thompson.
If you want to provide public testimony for the record, you certainly can. Take it off consent.
Sure.
You want to do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next is item 13, KC 1025-259. The applicant is Gullickson Holdings on consent for approval. The request is rezoning from GI to NBD. Property is located within an ACI, Area of Civic Importance Overlay District. The location is 1947 South 13th Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? All right, and next is item 14, KC 1125-247. Applicant BBTB Investment Club on consent for approval. Request is approval of a PUR, Planned Unit Redevelopment Overlay District. The location is 2220 North 25th Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? All right, next is item 16, KC 1025-260. Applicant Anna Johnson on consent for approval. The request is approval of the MCC Major Commercial Corridor Overlay District. The location is 8516 Blondo Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next is item 17, KC 1025-261. Applicant is Red Development, LLC, on consent for approval. Request is approval of the ACI 3 Area of Civic Importance Overlay District. The location is 120 Regency Parkway. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next is item 19, KC 816-294. Applicant is Kelly Danielson on consent for approval. The request is approval of the major amendment to a special use permit to allow scrap and salvage services in an HI, Heavy Industrial District. The location is 3701 Dahlman Avenue. Would anyone like to have this removed? Okay, next is item 20, case C1105-178, C807-286. Applicant is Brookstone Meadows, Inc. /Vetter Senior Living on consent for approval. Request is approval of the major amendment to the special use permit to allow general office in an R7 district, along with approval of a major amendment to the PUD, Planned Unit Development Overlay District. The location is northeast of 204th and Harney Streets. Would anyone like to have this removed? Okay. Next is item 21, case C798-216. The applicant is Westside High School on consent for approval. The request is approval of the major amendment to the conditional use permit to allow secondary educational facilities in the R2 district. Property is also located in MCC, Major Commercial Corridor Overlay District. The location is 8715 Pacific Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next is item 22, case C724-163, applicant Duchenne Academy of the Sacred Heart on consent for approval. Request is approval of a major amendment to the conditional use permit to allow secondary educational facilities in the R3 district. Property is a designated local landmark. The location is southwest of 36th and Burt Street. Would anyone like to have this removed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we will take that off agenda too. Okay, those are the cases that are on consent for approval. I'll now read the case. We have two cases on consent for layover as well. First one is item 1, KC 1025-221. KC 12-25222, the applicant is Black Bear Holdings LLC on consent for layover. The request is preliminary plat approval of the preserved second edition, a subdivision outside city limits with rezoning from AG to DR, along with a waiver to section 5399, sidewalks 5393, street surfacing, to waive installation of curb and gutter, 53910, streetscape standards to waive installation of streetlights, 5382B, cul-de-sac length, 5382G, street width, and 5384D, lot frontage. This was laid over from our September 3rd, 2025 meeting. The location is southwest of 222nd and I Streets. Would anyone like to have this removed? All right. And the final case on layover is case C-728-248. Applicant is Our Lady of Lourdes. Consent, it's on consent for layover. Request is approval of a major amendment to the presumed conditional use permit pursuant to section 55883Q to allow religious assembly in the R535 district. The location is 2124 South 32nd Avenue. Would anyone like to have this removed? Okay. All right, those are all our cases on consent for either approval or layover. I first need a motion. We'll pull off the two or three cases that were on that people wanted removed. So I need approval to for the remaining cases that are on consent for approval.
Motion to approve agenda items number 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, 16, 17, 19, 20, and 21.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Morris?
Yes.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Tondal?
Yes.
Sotolongo?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Rupert?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
Approved 7-0.
thank you. Next, I need a motion for the two consent for layover cases.
Motion layover cases 1 and 23.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Tondal?
Yes.
Sotolongo?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Rupert?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Approved 7-0.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if you are here from one of those consent items, they were either on for consent for approval or layover, you're certainly welcome to stay, but you're certainly free to leave as well, because those cases won't be heard at this point, okay? So we'll move through and take the items that were on consent for approval but were removed in order. And the first one is item 9, which is case C-10-25-249. Applicant is Mark Sanford. It was on consent for approval. The request is rezoning from R435 to TOD2 MUR, along with the repeal of the ACI overlay district. Location is 521 South 38th Avenue. May we hear from the applicant?
Good afternoon. I'm Mark Sanford. I'm the architect for the project at this address for Jim Esch, who is the owner of the house or the property. It used to be offices for UNMC. And he's just converting this building into 4 apartments. It'll have less occupants than when it was occupied as an office. Since those were only 4 apartments, they're single bedrooms. And the current building has had several people working as offices. So less population, less parking issues.
How many people were working there?
Judging from the plan, because I didn't see it when it was occupied, probably about 10 people easily in this space, because there were offices in each of the rooms. Now we're going to convert some of those rooms into bedrooms, some into kitchens, some into breakfast area. They're small apartments, so it is definitely less occupants. And there's no construction on the outside. There's no parking necessary outside. So it'll be all interior remodel.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Mark.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. You'll get a chance, if you want, I'll call you here in a second, okay? Are there any other proponents that wish to speak? People that are in favor of the project? Seeing none, are there any opponents that wish to speak on this? Did you want to speak on as an opponent?
I just have questions.
Come on up, please. And if you would, when you come up to the podium, please list your name and address for the record, okay?
So I'm not for or against.
That's okay.
Just
That's okay.
questions. Hi, my name's Karen Olson. I live at 513 South 38th Avenue. So the questions I have, he's already said 4 apartments. This is a 5-bedroom house originally. I'm not sure how you can get 4 apartments out of a 5-bedroom house. He also said that there wasn't a lot of people, there wasn't an issue with parking before because it was an office building for the med center. Having lived in that area for 25 years, there were very seldom people in that office building. At most, there was 3 cars. You're telling me there's going to be 10 people living in that new apartment
No, there's
building?
only going to be
4 people.
We'll give Mark a
max.
chance to come back up after you provide your testimony, okay? So you
Okay.
can go ahead and
So I
say
was
what you
just
need to say,
curious
and then I'll have
about
Mark
how
come
many
back up.
people, how much parking, because there's no parking in that area. And I understand it doesn't need to have any work on the outside, which makes me wonder why we're taking it off of the overlay district, because the overlay requires more regulation than the regular base regulation. So what's being changed that requires that? And that's just because I don't understand that. But mostly my question is, how do you get a 4-bedroom apartment out of a 5-bedroom house? And what are you doing for parking? Because there is no parking on that street now. There's never any place to park. And then maintenance in the future, is there going to be a lot of younger people there? Or is it going to be older people? Or is it going to be people who are going to be disruptive to the neighborhood? That kind of, because it kind of sets a precedent for changing houses into apartments. And that is not currently what is on that street.
Yeah, you do realize you can't control your neighbors. I mean,
I
who
do
moves
know
into
that.
into
I do
properties,
know
right? You
that.
understand
But I
that.
also know that it's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff going on in that neighborhood right now.
Sure, I understand.
So, that's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, are there any other opponents or opponents that wish to speak to this? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Mark, if you'd please
Yep,
address some of the
thank you.
questions.
Thank you for your questions. The changing that into 4 small apartments, that's the magic I get to try and do. We haven't attempted to do that. I did a cursory plan for that building. The parking, there's a driveway. There is a garage that has 2 spaces already, and parking on the driveway will allow at least 2 more cars and maneuverability for other cars to get around and get into the garage. So we won't be parking on the street, or won't be any required parking. As far as I've talked to the planning department, and we discussed what was necessary, and they already meet the parking requirements for that. I did a pre-planning meeting. I also got a call from Mark Mazer, who's part of that, I don't know if it's an HOA or in that community, because they are concerned about the look of that neighborhood. And I told Mark there's no new buildings, there's no new construction, no modernization of the house. So we are going to do our best just to keep it looking the way it is, because there's already ADA access actually on the south side, and it gets around to one of the doors that we're going to turn into an apartment. So we'll actually be able to provide a handicapped apartment if necessary.
When did you have your pre-planning meeting?
Had the pre-planning meeting a couple months ago, a few months ago, in fact.
With the neighbors?
Not with the neighbors. This was
With
with
the
the planning
planning
department, with Mike Carter and
Okay.
Tim Freeze and those, and the usual folks that I meet with.
Mark, do you anticipate, is there going to be like one primary entrance into the structure and then divide it out from
Correct.
there? Are they going to be separate ingress, egress
I'm gonna,
to the units?
we're gonna come into one primary area and then go hopefully 2 apartments. They won't be huge, but I'm gonna work that out. 2 apartments on the main level and 2 apartments on the upper level. There is a central stairway, and I'm gonna see if that central stairway works out. If not, we'll reconfigure the interior, but the exterior of the building won't change.
Obviously, with the change of use, you'll have to probably do some fire rating walls and retrofitting on the inside that comply with applicable building codes.
The great part about this building is it's already sprinkled. So there are fire sprinklers in that building already. UNMC went ahead and did that on their own dime and took care of that. So rated walls are not that difficult either. Because of those fire sprinkling, that helps.
Eric, there was a question about the repealing of the ACI overlay district. I know that there's some design standards built into the TOD2 MUR. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, sure. So anytime we rezone to TOD, if there's an existing ACI overlay, we repeal that because it's redundant. The same requirements that would be applicable in an ACI area, such as increased landscaping, building materials, things of those nature are already covered or covered as well in the TOD zoning. So just so there's not confusion of which code to apply, because there are some differences, but the items that are covered in ACI are also covered in TOD. So now I can say if it is just the interior of a project, there's not going to be any requirements on the exterior as far as those items that I just listed. But we are covered with the TOD for what's been there with the ACI.
I have a quick question, Eric, and this could be an old image I'm looking at, but it does look like there's about 20 feet of area outside the house along the street where there's not a sidewalk. Do we use this opportunity to then connect the sidewalk on this property? I assume that we do.
You know, that came up yesterday when I met with Public Works, and we can always call Ryan Haas up if he, if you'd like. With the straight rezoning, it wouldn't be covered with this rezoning. Now, with the change of use, I guess we would have to discuss internally if that opens up that requirement. I know there are some potential grade challenges, but I guess I would probably refer to Ryan.
We don't need to make a big, it just seems like the one chance to do it would be right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's definitely on our radar. If we have that ability with the building permit that comes in, we would definitely do so.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, I closed the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Let
Or
me-
Eric, please,
yep.
Eric, please.
Yep. I don't have much else to add, other than what I've already stated. Staff recommends approval of the rezoning from R435 to TOD2 MUR and approval of the repeal of the ACI overlay.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Okay, now do I have a motion?
To approve the rezoning from R435 to TOD2 MUR, approval of the repeal of the ACI overlay district.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Tondo? Yes. Sotolongo?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Rupert?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Approved 7-0.
Thank you. Mark and Karen, you might want to try and get together too. Maybe just kind of keep communication lines open so you answer your questions as well. Okay?
Thank you very much. I appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.
All right, the next item that was on consent for approval that was removed is case C-10-25-258. The applicant is Nancy Sanchez. It was on consent for approval. The request is rezoning from R4 to R5, and the request, or the location is 3026 South 18th Street. May we hear from the applicant? Is the applicant here? Okay, are there any proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Who took this off? And please, your name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Victor Slape. I am the owner, along with my wife Beverly, of the residence at 3042 South 18th Street in Omaha, Nebraska 68108. We have lived in this house since 1978. We actually acquired it from my family. We purchased it in 1986. So we have seen many changes in the neighborhood, from homeowners to rental houses. And there's very few owners actually left in the neighborhood other than renters. We met the people that bought the two houses in the lot next door about a year ago. And he bought the two houses. One of them was gutted. It was involved in a fire as a rental house. And he told me he was going to rebuild it. And, you know, that's great. We have no opposition to rebuilding. But several things in the last several months have transpired. We also own the lot next door to us, which we bought from the city, the land reutilization in 1989, I believe. So our backyard is very, very large. It's beautiful. But half of the lot in front to the east side is also now ownership of the people that acquired the two houses and the large piece of land. Our concern is, why do they want to change it from a single-family dwelling to urban? This kind of scares me. I co-teach second grade, and we know that urban means building up. I know that much. And that concerns me. Right now, parking is a problem. We have several residents that are parking in their front yard on the curb. And even the neighbor around the house says that he's willing to pay the $10 fee. He's only been cited twice because there's no parking on our street. The population density would be increased, the parking problem. We have parking on one side of the street. It's narrow. And to add an additional unit or urban unit, that really scares my wife and I. We spoke with two of our neighbors across the street. They received letters also with us, and they said, Senor Victor, what is this? And I said, well, this is a letter from the city. And I explained to them what was going on. They said, oh, no. So another concern, which, I'm not being critical, but I really wish that this letter would have been sent in English and Spanish. We explained to our two neighbors across the street, and they said that they would send letters in. And the two neighbors on Spring Street also said that they would send letters in. Now, whether they did or not, I don't know. But I did take time from work to be here because this gravely affects us. We've been in the community for many, many years. And this urbanization change really does scare us a lot. You all have copies of our letter, and I don't think I need to waste my time or yours by reading the 2.5-page letter, but I guess that's about it.
Okay. Thank you, Victor.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other opponents that wish to speak? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Applicant is not present, I don't believe, so Eric, what do you have for us?
Yeah, so,
She's the.
could you come down? Are you the applicant? Or come on down, please.
Yeah.
If you can.
Are you Nancy?
Yes, I
Okay,
am.
please enter your name and address for the record.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Nancy Sanchez. I live in 1035 West 10th Street, Fremont, Nebraska. And I am the owner and the property and the requesting from the R4 to R5. I'm just following what the chief and the plumbing department told to my architect to do on it and follow over the step. My husband and I start a business, renter, buying and selling houses. And that was opportunity in the South, bought this property. But always never try to bother anyone, any neighbor, nothing. Just make a business. We bought this property, and one house in the front is in rent now. That one and the backside is fire damage. We bought it like that because our business is remodeling and always follow the inspection steps, certify anything the property needed, we do. And my position is not bother anyone, but that houses we spoke now and the backside is we rebuild for my daughter. She will live in that. I know in South Omaha is increased a lot, business too. And for me, it's a special opportunity in South Omaha because I have business in North Omaha. And right now, I am submit this, but anything decision, I will agree with that, because the chief says it will be the single family to multifamily, And the house rebuild, we will put parking to not bother anyone in the front. The lot he speak about it in front, it has parking a lot, parking street. But we don't think build nothing yet because it's expensive, need money too. But just rebuild the house because my daughter will be live in the house when it will ready if it is approved. If it's not approved, it will okay too. It's just I let these people take the decision. But
How many cars does your daughter have?
my daughter,
Yeah. Will she have? I should say, will she have, but she lives in
she's renter now, and I will be rebuild the house for her. Yeah.
How many automobiles, cars?
2.
So they park in the driveway?
Yes, they parking because if you see the map, the house has like that.
Right.
And parking, there is parking, yeah,
Okay.
to build, yeah. That is my opinion. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Nancy. All right, Eric. Come on up. Name and address, please, too, for the record.
My name is Beverly Slape. I live at 3042 South 18th Street. I mostly have a question for your planning department, your people. Okay, they bought the property. They bought the house knowing that it was burned out, knowing that they would have to rebuild it. They bought the properties knowing that our neighborhood was zoned for single-family homes. They bought the property knowing that they bought a burned-out house. They bought another house. The property had another house that was going to need repair. And they bought the property knowing that they bought a lot that had enough room to build another house on it if they wanted to. So they knew that these properties were single home property. So now they come to you guys and say, well, we want to rezone this neighborhood to urban. So if they get their way, they will turn our neighborhood into an urban neighborhood.
Yeah, I think Eric's going to address that for you, that question for
Yeah.
you. So maybe give some clarity to what you're thinking.
And we really don't want to be an urban neighborhood because
Understand.
the neighborhoods around us have become urban neighborhoods.
Sure.
And we like our neighborhood the way it is.
I assume you don't mind having the burned down home be repaired and rebuilt to improve the neighborhood, right? Yeah.
No,
It's-
that house has been that way for 2 years now.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
okay.
And the house that they do have, they've not done a single thing to fix it up. Not a single thing. They have a family living in there, and the house looks the same as it did when that family moved in. They haven't done a thing to fix that house up for the people that are living in there. So, to me, if they were serious about being a business that fixes, that buys houses and fix them up, they should fix up the house that the people that they are renting to live in first.
Now, in my
I think-
letter I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So
Go- That's it, okay.
I hope it,
Yeah.
that you guys take that into consideration.
certainly. Okay, I did close the public hearing, so we've heard from both of you, so thank you for your testimony. We appreciate that. And we get it. We understand what you're saying, okay?
Yeah.
So Eric's going to kind of hopefully
Just
bring some clarity to some of your
The idea of changing
concerns.
it into an urban neighborhood
Understand.
is what bothers us.
Understand, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Eric, please.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with the urban definition, and that comes from the official title of the R5 zoning district, which is R5 Urban Family Residential District. Okay, there's about 9 different zoning residential districts that we have in our code, and the title is, R2, R3, R4, they're all single-family residential, but they're low density, medium density, high density. But everything R5 and below is considered by the Omaha's master plan as low density residential. There's R6, R7, R8, which are higher density. So really the term urban is just the definition of the R5. Now within each of these zoning districts, there are different requirements of how many units you can build per acre or what type of housing, whether it's just single family homes, whether it's apartments and single family duplexes. So the request is from R4 to R5, which the master plan does support as low-density residential. Now, R5 is a little more dense of how many units it could allow compared to R4, but the term urban is really just more of a definition of our code and how it's titled. Now, there is a change from R4 to R5 and why it was recommended or why it's required to have the second unit. Within R5, you can have two-family residential, which is what this site has existed, which is two homes on one property. So that's called two-family residential. So in order to have, reconstruct the second home, the R5 zoning is necessary. The R5 does also allow duplexes, townhomes. Once you get to R6 and above, there's kind of a substantial change in apartments and what's allowed as far as density in that housing form. So that's the reason for the request, is because in order to have the two homes, they've been there historically for a long time, but with the fire and needing of permits, that zoning change is necessary. I would suspect that there is likely a need for waivers from the Zoning Board of Appeals. I don't know if there's been any applications or thoughts on that. I don't have the design of if anything is changing on the site. But if the home has been, substantially damaged or removed, then, in order to rebuild, there's likely going to need to be waivers just because of the setback requirements would be rather substantial. But I don't know all those specifics if anything has changed. The site plan that was provided with the rezoning is just representative of what the aerial shows. I don't know if I have any other specific statements to say. It is compliant with the Omaha master plan. So I guess I'll leave it at that, and staff recommends approval.
Just want to make one comment just to make sure you understand. Eric alluded to it, but that house needs to be rebuilt, and in order to get a permit, it has to be in compliance with code, and it's not now because of two residences on one property. So this is mandated specifically for that property alone, nothing to do with the rest of the neighborhood, just that property, so that those two houses can remain, and that one that was burned can be rebuilt. That's the purpose for this. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Not, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the rezoning from R4 to R5. Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Sotolongo?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Rupert? Morris?
Yes.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Tondal?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
Approved 7-0.
thank you. All right, the next item that was on consent was pulled off is item 22, KC 724-163. Applicant is Duchenne Academy of Sacred Heart. Was on consent for approval. The request is approval of the major amendment to the conditional use permit to allow secondary educational facilities in the R3 district. Property is located as a local landmark. The location is southwest of 36th and Birch Street. May we hear from the applicant, please?
Good afternoon. I am Matt Wegener. I'm a project manager with BVH Architecture.
I'm Barton Arnold, project manager with Signworks.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're proposing this new signage on the exterior of the new addition at Duchenne Academy and the scoreboard as part of a Phase 2 master plan project that's currently under construction. The intent of the project is to improve and modernize the athletic facilities for Duchenne and the girls' athletics there, to help with recruitment, to help with just looking forward and building up the tradition and maintaining and building the tradition at Duchenne. The exterior signage that is mounted on the building, it's sized to set back from the street, to fit within the overall architecture of the building. The scoreboard, in a similar situation. We worked with landmarks, several meetings with landmarks, several meetings with the neighbors last year to reposition, to resize this new scoreboard, to bring it down from the street, provide landscaping around the base of it to make it feel a little more tucked in. The scoreboard is facing the building itself, so it wouldn't directly face towards the neighborhood itself. And in talking with Duchenne, there's really no intent to keep it on other than during activities for sporting events. So with that, Barton, do you have anything to add?
No, not really.
Okay.
Now, speaking with the sign inspector, he was classifying this as a sign. I noticed in your report that you are not classifying it as a sign. Do I need to go in front of the zoning board of appeals to get an amendment from them for it to be as an electronic message sign? Because that is what it is ultimately
Sure.
for this zone.
We'll circle back when I get to my part.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, are there any proponents that wish to speak to this? Seeing none, are there any opponents that wish to speak? Sir, please come up.
Good afternoon. Fergus Hoban is my name. I'm 62 North 38th Street is my residence, which directly overlooks the Duchenne playing field. We weren't consulted as neighbours. Nobody ever made contact with us in relation to any aspect of this property, despite the fact that we are the neighbour most directly affected by the vista. We bought that house. It's one of the old grand mansions of the Gold Coast because of its views and because of the very elegant building that Duchenne was. Our concern, and the reason I'm here today, is the building itself is intensely ugly. The architectural standards were terribly poor in its execution, and for instance, no attempt at brick matching against an old building, the use of a shiny brick that completely changes the character of that building and the neighbourhood. So I'm very concerned about the details here, which is what kind of signage. I can only assume from the work already done that it will be ugly and plastic. So we don't have any information in relation to that. They state, or I have just heard for the first time, that the scoreboard will directly face the building. Well, that means it's going to be right outside our living room window, so we get to enjoy the back of a scoreboard. So it's this degree of insensitivity to what is a very sensitive neighbourhood in Omaha that really has, roiled us and the neighbourhood as we have seen the building come into existence. So that's the reason I'm here today. It's the reason I'm absolutely opposing until such time as we see some of the detail. If the further development is as poor as what has already been done, then no doubt it will be a blight on the city for years to come.
Thank you, Bert.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other opponents that wish to speak to this? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, but Bart, would you like to come up and just talk about the materials of the sign and a little bit about the construction of the sign? Come up to the podium, please. Yeah.
Well, the Barton Arnold Sign Works, 4713 F Street. Sorry. The lettering that's going to be on the west elevation of the gym is a 1/4 inch thick aluminum letter and logo. The heart logo is going to be a painted red logo. The lettering itself is going to be black, and then they are going to be 1 inch standoffs off the brick. They are non-illuminated, but they will have lights off the top, so they will be illuminated from the wall with a light shining down. Sorry about that.
Okay.
What about the backside of the scoreboard? I see on the drawing that it's screened with landscaping. Anything else?
The scoreboard is 8 feet off the ground. There will be, Matt's more familiar with the scoreboard itself, but it is 6 feet between the posts, 8 feet off the ground. It's at an angle off of the I'm trying to look at the map. What is that
Off the northwest corner of the basically the new soccer field, and it sits down around 15 feet from the level of 30.
Sorry, you got to give your name and address again.
Sorry.
You can give more details. but-
Matt Wagner, BVH Architecture, 901 Jones Street. So the new scoreboard is designed to sit at an angle at the northwest corner of the new soccer field. It sits down approximately 15 feet from 38th Street, and we're having landscaping at the base to hide some of the structural posts that are holding up the scoreboard. And then along the back side, we have taller landscaping to frame it.
Can you
Yeah.
pull up the aerial? Just put it underneath that.
The rendering or something, yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
So where's 38th and where's Webster? And there you
So
go.
38th Street, west hand side, California, and Burt Street. So the green is the new soccer field. This elevation is the new gymnasium. There's existing tennis courts, fencing on the north side. So what we're talking about is a new scoreboard sitting in an angle right in the corner, that northwest corner.
And is there a hill there?
There is a hill,
little here.
so from 38th Street, it slopes down.
And I see in the drawing here that there's, looks like 5 or 6 trees that are going to be in back of the scoreboard, kind of
Correct.
buffer it from the neighborhood, I guess.
Do you have that rendering with you also? We can put that up.
Let me see.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have.
We had it in our packet.
The rendering of what?
There you go.
There you go. It's so you're standing at basically midfield. This is that existing tennis court, fencing and screen. The fencing, existing 38th Street fencing is sitting up around 15 feet, and then there's the scoreboard that you're seeing here. So again, the intent is to provide landscaping down low, and then some additional taller landscaping to help frame
Okay.
it.
So that fencing is it's not, looks like it's solid fencing, right? It's not chain link fencing.
Correct.
Right.
No, it's what's there today. It's a kind of a post and
Black wrought iron.
So that elevation we see here looks like the top of the fence is almost at the top of the scoreboard.
Yeah, correct.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's what Barton had mentioned. It sits about 8 feet off the ground, and then it's
Yeah.
sits right in line with that fence.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Close the public hearing. Eric.
Barton, stay there real quick. So the information available to me and my understanding from staff in coordinating with our sign inspector, the scoreboard is not classified as signage. It sounds like you had a differing thought on that, so could you elaborate a little bit more for me?
Well,
It was-
speaking with Jerry, the
Yeah.
sign inspector,
How-
he was classifying, because it is an electronic message setter.
Yep.
In theory, and it is showing a electronic image.
Was that a recent conversation, or has that been a while?
Couple weeks ago.
Okay, all right.
And the fact that they are able to advertise sponsors during their games, he was classifying that as a sign.
Okay, well, that's not necessarily the case. Is the back of the scoreboard black, or no messaging, no
messaging
advertising?
no advertising, no messaging on the backside.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And it's covered by the shrub, like the trees.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to clarify.
Okay, so I believe staff has had conversations with sign inspector since then. The scoreboard is not classified as a sign, similar to Millard South High School, which is a very same situation. That was not classified as signage. When they did the mural on the back, before it was black, they did the mural. Specifically, that could not include any wording regarding Millard Public Schools because that would have classified as signage. So apologize for any confusion, but the recommendation report is accurate. That is only considered a structure because it is not readily viewable by the surrounding rights-of-way public. It's not directing attention to a building, profession, commodity, or service. This has come up. It's kind of unique with scoreboards. We actually also had a case, Creighton University, with their recent scoreboard changes as well. So Specifically, the waivers that would be required are specific to the building signage, which is shown in your exhibits. Anytime there's a campus, civic use, it's not uncommon that we have signage waivers that are needed, and those are being supported. So staff is recommending approval of the major amendment to the conditional use permit, subject to the 6 conditions in the recommendation report.
Thank you, Eric. Any other questions? If not, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve a major amendment to the conditional use permit to allow secondary education facilities in the R3 district. Property is in a designated local landmark, subject to the 6 conditions in the staff report.
Second.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Moore? Yes. Rupert? Morris?
Yes.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Tondal? Sotolongo? Yes. Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Approved 7-0.
Okay, thank you. All right, those are the items that were on consent that were removed, so we'll now move into the other agenda items. The first one is item 2, KC 7-25207. The applicant is Michael L. Kruger. The request is approval of the conditional use permit to allow an accessory dwelling unit in the R1 district. This is laid over from our September 3rd, 2025 meeting. Location is 20780 Timberline Drive. May we hear from the applicant? Is the applicant here? Yep. Here we go.
Hello, good afternoon. Michael Kruger, 20780 Timberlane Drive. At the request of this board, you asked me to try and make more contact with neighbors and HOA. That's what I've spent the last month trying to do. I have spoke with most, if not all, of my neighbors within the 300-foot area and a few others in the neighborhood. Brought them plans, showed them pictures, said, do you have any concerns with this? Explained what the reason for it was. Most of them were, hey, that's a really nice thing you're doing, great. Did at the beginning ask for if anybody would be willing to sign, saying they were good with that. Time and time again, it was, no, I'm not signing anything. So I understand. Did reach out to the board too. Sent an email on the 14th of September. There was no response until the September of 29, where I emailed again trying to make contact. Their lawyer finally had them get a hold of me. We did set up a meeting. It was less than 24 hours ago. They did come to the meeting with some pictures of what they were looking for. Other than that, they weren't really interested in talking anything with what I have, but they said, here's some pictures and here's what we would approve. We are taking that under consideration, but it's been less than 24 hours. I haven't been able to change plans that have been in the works for months.
But you reached out more than 2 weeks ago?
Yes. So.
Did they say why they didn't respond?
I think there was somebody said somebody was out of town, is what I heard, so.
Yeah, you actually reached out twice, or you reached out twice,
Yes.
right?
Before they responded?
Yes.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
And so right now, that's where we're at with this, so.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Are there any proponents that wish to speak? Proponents? Okay. So you're in favor of this, correct, sir?
Calvin Hens,
Calvin?
20819.
Calvin, are you in favor of this?
Oh, I'm sorry, did you say proponents?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not in favor of it.
Okay, I wanted to make sure.
You're getting me confused.
Okay, so you're an opponent. I want to make that official for
Yes.
the record, okay.
Okay, I'm Calvin Hens, 20819 Paddock Circle. That's in Skyline Ranches. A member of the Skyline Ranches Property Owners Association, and I'm here to speak in behalf of the association in asking the city to deny this request by Mr. Kruger for a permit to build the addition at his home on a 3/4 acre lot. In the early 1960s, real estate developer Slim Thornton saw the need for a community of acreages near the city of Omaha, but located in the county or in the country. He found such a site south of West Dodge Road and north of Pacific Street from Skyline Drive eastward to Highway 6. He envisioned the area to be populated primarily by horse owners and established an SID with 1 to 5 acre lots on a meandering trail system which connected them to each other in a central corral social center. This was named Skyline Ranches, and the lot sold quickly. Covenants required larger homes, which were allowed, and the latitude of architectural style was also allowed in landscaping. We are opposed to this request as it turns an open R1 development into a high-density area. Mr. Kruger is only on 3/4 of an acre. He is proposing 2 residences to be on less than a 1-acre lot. We are all on septic systems, and he should not be sharing a septic system with another residence. And I know this might be a health department issue. Our covenants do not allow outbuildings to be used for human habitation. 1 lot, 1 residence. The covenants do not allow businesses to be run out of the homes, which is exactly what we would perceive would happen once Mr. Kruger's parents pass, because he's thinking of having his parents in there right now. We know that that house wouldn't sit vacant, so it'd probably be turned into an apartment, which is strictly against our codes, our covenants. Skyline Ranches is a coveted area in the city due to the large lots, green spaces, and unlike the surrounding neighborhoods. This is what was originally designed for people to move to our neighborhood for just that reason. We cannot allow people now to start altering the open green spaces for their own personal gain, which would definitely diminish the neighborhood and lower property values. His current plan does not meet side yard setbacks, which are 25 feet. They show 21.5, and I see no variances in the approval. And that's really a City of Omaha R1 building code, not a covenant code. And so on behalf of the Skyline Ranches Homeowners Association, we would like to reject this. That all said, I did meet with Mr. Kruger last night. I came up with an alternative. And I said, connect your ADU to the house. And I'll put a little drawing here. And zoom in. And so I simply said the red area is his new addition, the hatched area is his existing house, and let's build a foil wall across, connect them, and then that way it won't look like a separate house, it'll look like one house and be more harmonious with the neighborhood. Front elevation would look something like that. He doesn't need to do an arch if he doesn't want to do an arch, but still a foil wall across from the existing house to his new addition. Addressing Mr. Kruger's comment about the association didn't want to meet with him, I think a lot of them were just inconvenience, but we were glad to meet with him last night and arrange the meeting. With that, I will turn it over to your next speaker.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Calvin.
All right. Any other opponents?
Good afternoon. My name is Kathleen Foster, Peterson and Foster Law, 2637 South 158th Street, Suite 110, Omaha 68130. I represent Skyline Ranches Property Owners Association, and kind of in addition to Mr. Hines' comments, we met, I believe, on September 3rd. The very next day, the Property Owners Association Board did have a meeting. I attended it, and we discussed the issue. I'm certainly sorry to Mr. Kruger if you feel like that the response was not immediate. Our actions were immediate to address it. I do believe I sent you an email, not yesterday, but several weeks ago, really putting everybody in contact with each other. I spoke, yes, and I spoke with your lawyer.
Okay, please talk to us. Please.
I spoke with your lawyer just so we would try to have it be resolved, if it could be, at the board and at the homeowner level. Some of the things that, and looking at the application have come up, I have some questions on, really because this feels like it's a big precedent issue, because the ADU seems to be a fairly new option for residents in Omaha. When I look at the application, I don't know if I'm going to do this right. The application is asking for an ADU that is 2,250 square feet in size. If we look at the public facilities regarding sewage disposal and sanitary sewer capacity.
There you go.
It says it's acceptable. I did reach out to the Department of Health and spoke with a couple gentlemen, Alan Brown and also Jeremy Pohl, who I understand this application would eventually get to in the event it would be approved at this phase. Because out in Skyline, there's not public sewer. It's a septic tank neighborhood development. And when I look at Mr. Kruger's lot, this is his lot, the perimeter. This is the current house. This is the garage that's proposed to be demolished. And then where he wants to construct the house, the second house, or the ADU. When I pull the public records, it shows that the footprint for the basement is 2,004 square feet. Right here it's showing that the detached garage is 816 square feet, and here's that 2,004 square feet for the footprint for the basement. As it's proposed, he wants the existing structure. This is on the application, this 2,681 square feet. So I assume that incorporates evidently an addition here, and I think the roof structure over the front entry to the house to get to that 2,681 square feet. The proposed addition is 2,258, and that's pursuant to the application. The drawings are nice. I don't think they fit with an accessory dwelling unit. When I look at the accessory dwelling unit information that's provided on the City of Omaha website, it says an ADU is a small residence that shares a lot with a larger primary dwelling. It's generally located to the rear of the property or above a garage. These are the renderings of attached ADUs. I think if you look at each one of them, they're significantly smaller than what the primary dwelling unit is.
Is that what you're referring to? Does it say specifically that there needs to be a certain size that to be defined by an ADU, or is it just?
I'm kind of getting to that.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Directly, the reference consistently is smaller. Size-wise, proportion-wise, percentage-wise, in comparison from the primary dwelling to the proposed ADU, there's not a specific percentage. So I think the idea of the ADUs is to provide a small unit. That's what it's defined as, a unit. It's not a second home. It's not another residence. It's not a structure that is or could be a single family residence. The verbiage here says that many ADUs are not easily visible from the street, which would not be the case here. They do not significantly impact the urban form. They're smaller and require less resources and land to build than full-sized homes. They're additional source of rental income. This is just information that I went through that's available to interested parties looking for information on ADUs on the city website. When I look at the ADU code, and I understand this is just a year and a half old, but it does it says the purpose is an accessory dwelling unit. It provides an additional unit. And I would submit to you that what is submitted here by Mr. Kruger is not an additional unit. It's a home. It's a single-family residence. I was not able to find the documentation, and I'm not sure that it was available to me, but I believe this is at least 2 bedrooms, bathroom, rather large living space. 2,200 square feet is a good-sized home. That's not an additional unit. I think this is a deviation from what was intended when the accessory dwelling unit ordinance was created. I don't think this is consistent with what the intent was. And I guess my concern is that this sets a precedent then for other applications for an accessory dwelling unit, that anything that is submitted can get approved as long as it hits a setback requirement and a building height. And maybe that it is technically smaller. What is smaller? Is that a couple feet? We don't have much more guidance than that. Some of the purpose of the ADU was that housing affordability. We really haven't heard that from the applicant. What I recall is that, and I think it's honorable, he's trying to create a living situation for his parents. But I think there's other ways to do that. I think he can accomplish what he wants by at least considering other options, whether that's an addition to the home, whether that's significantly reducing what he has here. I think the concern is legitimate as to what happens if this is approved. What happens then to a 2,250 square foot structure when his initial and intended use is no longer there? The requirements for the ADU permit does reference section 5588.883, which I know everybody's familiar with. But just when I was looking at it, it says that, and this is just my interpretation, if this is an application that affects proposed residential type, that the applicant shall sign and submit a form certifying the applicant's efforts to meet with and receive input from each interested party. And that does reference contiguous property owners. I was looking, I don't know if it's out there. I don't know if I missed it. I'm very interested to know the people that Mr. Kruger suggests were contiguous property owners that are in support of this, because collectively the association is not in favor of what is proposed. I don't think the association is opposed to what he's trying to accomplish by trying to accommodate his parents in their later years. I just think there's a different option, and I am concerned that what he has proposed does not fit with the accessory dwelling unit ordinance as it is written. It's too big. It's a
Kathleen,
single-family residence.
Have you seen Mr. Hins's rendering that he just proposed?
I did see it.
Okay,
I did.
And would the homeowners association be in favor of that?
So I think that was an opportunity to try to create discussions for options. As Mr. Kruger mentioned, he said he would consider it, but we acknowledge that this meeting occurred last night, and I do apologize for that. I know that there were some board members who are on the particular committee that were out of town, because I was following up and asking them about making sure that they met with him. The discussion is there, and I think there could be a resolution, but not as it is proposed, because I don't think it is consistent with the intent, the original intent of the ADU ordinance.
And maybe you can't speak to this, but I think if I'm interpreting Mr. Hins's rendering properly, the only really difference is connecting the 2 units together. The units remain the same size, but the only difference is that connecting part of it.
Well, I guess I can't speak to that. You're right, I can't. I think that's a discussion that if I don't have to lawyer that and the board can do that, But kind of getting back to where I started with regards to the septic tanks, I was told that as proposed, but there's not been a formal application. So they didn't have anything other than just looking at the location of the septic tank on the lot right now where the laterals are, that it would not be approved. So I'm kind of curious, you know, the association has gotten involved. I'm here today and we don't want to create conflict amongst the neighborhood and residents. If this can't get approved as it's proposed because there's not enough room, the dirt won't perk, there has to be a separate tank for this separate unit, and there's not enough space. It's a third of an acre. Then I think that's very relevant in that it should be something that is explored before it's approved at this level. But for all those reasons, is there any other questions?
No.
Thank you.
Anybody
Thank you,
want to
Kathleen.
see any of my other here?
Appreciate your testimony.
Okay. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you. Are there any other opponents that wish to speak? Seeing none. Michael, you want to come back up and maybe address a couple of those questions or comments?
Sure. Michael Kruger, 20780 Timberlane Drive. I know the plans call for a second septic system. I am not the contractor. I do not know where it's going to be placed. I don't have the specifics of that. I know that was the plan, was the new building was going to have its own separate septic system set up on there. So I think that's already been addressed. I can bring up my contractor to speak on more if you have any more questions on that or more specifics.
My only question on that is a building permit question, correct? Like you have to make sure, and you'll probably answer this anyways, but you would have to, that would flush itself out beyond this step. Thank you.
Nice pun. Yeah, so we don't look at specifics for septic systems at this level. We do when we're doing final plats to make sure there's some type of pre-approval. That's kind of a separate matter when you have undeveloped land. Yeah, so I can't speak a lot to the septic system requirements or what is allowed or is not allowed, but there obviously has to be an approval from, you know, Douglas County and sometimes state of Nebraska, but this one is probably Douglas County only. You know, it's possible that because these units cannot be sold off, is the idea of enlarging an existing system. I don't know those particulars, but you know, we would follow the lead of the health department on that.
Okay. Anything else, Michael, that you'd like to add?
Sorry.
Well, I was just, she had mentioned the size of the ADU, and I'm not sure how it's exactly calculated, but it appears to me that the size of the living space in the ADU is about half of the structure.
Correct.
That's proposed.
The front half is a large two-car garage with 12-foot entry doors. My wife and I are campers. I hate storing a camper at an outlot and paying that extra fee. I'd love to be able to keep it on my lot.
But for the record, the actual dwelling unit would not be larger than or about the size of the original structure.
Oh, that includes the size of the garage.
Correct.
The garage is the big focal point up front, so that's it looks larger than it is because I want to be able to put a camper in there.
Do you have the dimensions of the living space and the garage?
I don't know if I have that on me. Do you?
Or square footage?
Let's see here. Just a second.
Or is it a 1,200 square foot house? And
2250.
Just trying to read the small numbers here. Sorry.
I know.
All right.
Boy, I just cannot
Bring
read
the
that.
contractor
Sorry.
up for answer that. Jeff? Is that your question?
Well, I thought that's my observation from the site plan that was submitted. It appears there's a two-stall, very large garage that's at the front, and I know that was the lawyer's
Correct.
concern.
The 2 bedrooms, that was a specific ask from my parents.
Mhm.
They My dad's a snorer. So they like to sleep, they're old enough and they want to sleep apart. They have for years. That's what they do. So that was because originally my plan was, or my thought was, something 1 bedroom, 1 bath. So, and it just kind of expanded from there when we were talking about, what they wanted and what they needed. So.
Okay. That it?
Yeah, we could ask.
Any other questions for Michael?
Just out of curiosity, what is your opposition to attaching it to the house as opposed to
We
just
looked
having
at
it
that.
detached?
So we are at the top of a hill. Our driveway is very steep and not very fun to snow blow. But if we pull it forward, it blocks basically the kitchen where we look out. We have a nice window that looks out over the trees and everything else. There's a very large tree that would have to get on one side. Actually, 3 trees total, 1 on one side of the driveway, 2 on the others if I pushed everything forward. And we would block that window out of the kitchen where we'd be looking at another building. It's just basically aesthetic more than anything. We want to keep the pretty look. So.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mark. I close the public hearing. Come on up for just to briefly state what you want to state. I'll call you up for that, but I close the public hearing, so please be brief.
Kathleen Foster, 2637 South 158th Street, Suite 110, Omaha 68130. I'm just asking for clarity with regards to the size of what he's proposing. We couldn't find it. We couldn't find it in the application for the residential part, and then the garage as well. These are the proposed ADUs that are on the City of Omaha website. These are the examples of what's pre-approved. This is 748 square feet, 602 square feet, 460 to 750, 740 square feet, 540.
Those are just, recommended. This is. I don't think you can make the comparison of what's there. I know what you're trying to get at. I know what your point trying to make, and we get that. We understand that, okay? But it's not necessarily specific to what they're trying to do, although it's a guideline.
I understand,
Right. Okay.
yeah. And it's just the structure is still 2,250 square feet. And keeping it consistent with the intent of the ADU was my point. Thank you for
Thank you.
hearing me.
All right. Eric, please.
Yeah. All right, so try to maybe take these in order as I wrote them down. Cal had mentioned the R1 side setback. Yes, the typical R1 setback is 25 feet. However, within the ADU section, which is within 55-763, Section A, you are allowed to reduce the typical setbacks on the sides and the rear of the property as long as the ADU is less than 16 feet in height, which this one is. So you're able to go technically as short as 5 feet on the side. This one is 21-foot setback, I believe. So whereas the typical R1, there is the exception. The ADU has multiple components that there are, different regulations that take the priority over the base district. Regarding the language on the website, so that was put together by planning department staff after the code went in place, just as a helpful guide to try to help people with the process, the entitlements, what's needed, information. So obviously we don't want to mislead, perhaps some of the wording there could be changed, but there is not a requirement in the code that an ADU has to be smaller than the existing residence. In fact, this board, you've seen a handful of ADUs that have required conditional use permits, and there have been several of them that are rather sizable, I would say. I would say the ones that have come to the planning board, the majority have been pretty sizable, and typically these have been affluent properties really that we've seen in different types of neighborhoods. So there have not been as many that have come through this board, a handful, I would say, that maybe that smaller 600, 700 square foot. But like I said, the code does not have a specific size requirement. We govern the size based on the building and impervious coverages of the base district, but then the ADU section does allow an increase of 15% to the maximum building and impervious coverage when you have an ADU. So rather than dictating a specific size, we talked about this when the code went in place, and I'm very familiar with the intent of what this code was because me and a few of my staff wrote it. So really, our previous code that was in place along the orbit line, so TOD, there was a previous code requirement, but that had been removed when we did this updated code section, and we just felt that governing it by the impervious and building, just like if you were to have a large building addition or an attached ADU, why should you get dinged to keep it to 700 feet? So I don't know if I have much else to say unless you have questions. And like I said, the website, maybe there's some language and some references that we need to tweak. I guess honestly, I've been a little surprised at the number of larger ADUs that have come forward. I mean, when you typically think of an ADU, it is kind of what the renderings that were shown that you think of, and a smaller unit in the rear of a lot. And really the intent is to provide additional housing. It doesn't always mean it has to be affordable housing, but it is an option to have a more affordable housing unit. It doesn't mean that every ADU is going to specifically fit that, because some of these are rather nice and pretty expensive. So I guess I would leave it at that as far as the intent. I know we've talked about ADUs here over the past couple of years, so.
You want to talk about the city's relationship to covenants in a subdivision as well? That was brought up.
Yeah, sure. So we touched on this a little bit last month, but I would state that the city of Omaha is not party to neighborhood covenants. I'm still a little unsure what covenants are in place, are valid or not valid, but it's not for the city of Omaha or the planning department specifically to get involved in those matters. That would be a private matter. It's the same situation if a fence permit came in and it was a privacy wood fence it met all our regulations, we would approve a permit, but perhaps there's a neighborhood covenant that doesn't allow that type of fencing. We don't dictate based on those covenants. That becomes a private matter between those parties. So it's the same thing with ADUs. I do know that sometimes there are neighborhoods that they would be prohibited, and that's not a situation that's unique to Omaha, but across the country. So I'll leave it at that. But
good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So you can please ask any other questions that you may have, but staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit to allow the ADU in the R1 district subject to the 3 conditions in the report.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Any questions? Not, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the conditional use permit to allow an accessory dwelling unit in the R1 district, subject to the 3 conditions in the staff report.
Did you second? It's okay, thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Tondal?
Yes.
Sotolongo?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Rupert? Yes. Morris?
Yes.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Approved 7-0.
Thank you. All right, now move into the next item on the agenda, item 3, KC 325-262. The applicant is the Planning Department of the City of Omaha. The request is approval of the Rose at Field Club TIF redevelopment project plan. The location is 3863 Marcy Street and 3863 Mason Street. Don, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, Don Seaton, Omaha City Planning Department. This is a townhome project located along the Field Club Trail just south of Marcy Street. It'll be a total of 31 new market rate rental units. They'll be configured, they're townhome style units. They'll be configured in 8 structures, each with 4 units. One will have 3. Be built on the 2 lots that are currently vacant, lots owned by the Board of Regents. The developer is Sullivan Development Company, managed by Charlie Sullivan. Total investment in the neighborhood is about $11.1 million. The TIF support for the project is $1,661,799. Project's been approved by the TIF committee. It's an appropriate land use for the location, and we ask for your approval.
Thank you, Don. Okay, are there any proponents who wish to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, board members. Bob Griffith, 11440 West Center Road, Omaha, Nebraska 68144, here on behalf of the applicant. With me as well today is Charlie Sullivan, who is the applicant. Many thanks again to Don for laying out the project and helping it get to this point so far. Pretty straightforward, fun little townhome deal in a kind of a tricky spot, tricky lot. As you guys know, those infill spots can be kind of difficult to do, so TIF really makes this one possible. Here to answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, it is a trick. It looks so narrow on the rendering here, and I'm just curious what the turn radius is to get into those garages. Yeah.
I know that we have additional parking spaces in front as well too, so there should be adequate space there. I have a couple here renderings I can put up that might have more. But as you said, since it is kind of a tight lot, we're doing our best to maximize the space that we have with covered and uncovered garages there.
Yeah.
And I understand that there's going to be some improvements to the Field Club Trail right adjacent, and this kind of abuts right up into that. So kind of retaining that community feel in the center of the city there.
Okay.
Right now it is just 2 vacant parking lots.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say vacant, but rarely used.
They were owned by the Med Center?
Correct. And this is a lease, a ground lease for 35 years, so it's a little different in that way that the TIF will be.
You guys are leasing it?
Correct.
I think one of my golf balls is on that site. Maybe more. No, you don't.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Any other proponents wish to speak?
Good afternoon, I'm Charlie Sullivan, 11516 Miracle Hill Drives, Omaha. I'm the developer and just here to answer questions if you got any.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Charlie. Any other proponents? Are there any opponents that wish to speak? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Eric.
Recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. A motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Sotolongo?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Rupert?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Tondel?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Approved 7-0.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. The next is item 4, KC 325-263, applicant Planning Department on behalf of the City of Omaha. The request is approval of an amendment to Chapter 55 zoning regarding urban design regulations. The location is City of Omaha in the 3-mile extraterritorial zoning jurisdiction. Eric, I think you're going to speak to this.
Yeah,
right?
so I'll briefly introduce this. Yeah, so anytime we have a zoning code amendment, we're always looking at ways we can improve, and this is one example. So this is specifically related to the urban design code, which has been in place for nearly 20 years, and it's been very effective in projects throughout our jurisdiction, but especially in infill and so many of the projects that we see on a month-to-month basis. I won't get into all these details. That was covered very well, I think, by Jed Moulton, manager of urban design, who really is kind of the lead and takes charge of this code and does a great job. So really there is very minimal substantial changes. Most of these changes are related to provide clarity, additional flexibility, and better reflect predominant development trends. So with that, staff recommends approval.
Okay, thank you. All right, any questions? Not, do I have a motion? Oops. Oh, public hearing. All right, thank you. Yeah. Are there any proponents that wish to speak to this? Seeing none, any opponents? All right, I will close the public hearing. Thank you. You said what? Yep. Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Moore?
Yes.
Rupert?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Tondal? Sotolongo? Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Approved 7-0.
Thank you. Okay, next we're going to take items number 6 and 15 together. They're the same applicant. The first one is item 6, case C 1025-251, case C 1225-252. The applicant is Ethan Slotin. The request is preliminary and final plat approval of the Midwest Maintenance, a minor plat inside city limits with rezoning from GI to GC to CC, along with the expansion of the MCC overlay. The location is southeast of 29th and Q Street. The other item is 15, case C 725-254 and C 1125-253, same applicant, Ethan Slotin. Request approval of the PUR, Planned Unit Redevelopment Overlay District, along with approval of conditional use permit to allow multifamily residential in the CC districts, location southeast of 29th and Q Street. We're going to look at them together, but we'll vote on them separately. So is the applicant here? May we hear from the applicant?
My name's Megan Wolf. I'm with Olson. Address is 211 South 67th Street, Suite 200, Omaha, Nebraska 68106. I'm the civil engineer on the project.
Eric Westman, Alley Pointer Mikado Architecture, architect on the project, 1516 Cumming Street.
Eric, was it Eric?
Yes.
Eric, okay. Thank you. You going to speak to the project?
Yes, you want to? Does this pop up there? All right, so this project is on 29th and Q Street in South Omaha. Only 2 miles away from where I was born and raised, so I'm proud to be working on this project. So this is a next step in all the development that's been happening in this area. So this is a market rate private development that will have commercial space, including a potential drive-through coffee shop, 57 apartments of various sizes, and then an office space for the entrepreneur who is building the building. So we're requesting various waivers that are listed and have been reviewed by planning. There's a few things left that Megan and I can discuss, and we will continue working with planning on. But other than that, I can go through and show images if you would like to see that. The project was once 4 stories, and then upon negotiations, we backed that down 1 based upon the parking requirements. And so really trying to fit something that takes what's been done in this neighborhood and make it transformational into the private development side.
Yeah, are you going to speak?
Oh, I was just going to say, this is what the property is now. So there's an existing parking lot and then kind of a maintenance building, storage building. Otherwise, it's just grass field. So we're taking, I think, 6 lots, combining it into 1. There's an existing alleyway that runs through the properties. That alleyway has been vacated. It's already been through planning. So we will record that alleyway vacation concurrent with the final plat.
So the great looking building for the to be a real enhancement to the area, but parking seems to be maybe one of the big issues. And then you mentioned that you're going to have a coffee shop in here as well.
Yes, it includes.
Which gives me a little bit greater concern then, because sometimes you get some of these coffee shops that get pretty darn busy. So where's everyone going to park?
So it specifically, that's one of the reasons we wanted to have a drive-through, is to make the primary source of the business, and we do have more than enough stacking on the site for drive-through relative to what's been approved lately. While it does have adequate parking as we've kind of worked back and forth with planning, it is also the intent to be a neighborhood building that takes what has been done to the north with all of the development of the residential area and contribute to that walkable neighborhood.
What is the stacking on that? And I ask that because I walk every day and I go by a coffee shop by my neighborhood, and the stacking is like 12 cars deep in this thing, and they can handle it. But
we have 200 feet right now, which is the requirement, and based upon what I'm seeing here, I believe we could probably stack an additional 100 to 120 feet.
Which would accommodate how many vehicles?
Right now, we would have 10, and I believe we could get to 16.
And there was potential for obstruction to the cross-traffic in the parking areas there with that type of stacking, is that correct?
The way it is right now, no. So we meet the requirement without doing that. The overflow could potentially obstruct one of the driveways.
Yeah, I see that, yeah. It would take about 6 or 7 cars probably to do that.
Yeah, and then when it relates to parking, so we are meeting the 1-to-1 for residential units. And then based off the comments from the planning, I think that we can get at least 3 more additional, possibly 4, by removing this landscape in the parking lot and adding 3 additional stalls there. We still meet the interior landscape requirements and the tree requirements because we'll still have 5 at that point. And then I think we might be able to squeeze 1 more out possibly right here and then still have a tree because there'd still be 9 feet of landscape right there. So.
And will there be entrances from the parking lot area, or is it all in the front?
Entrances to the building?
Yeah.
Yes, there will be an entrance to the main residential entry on the parking lot side as well as on Q Street. And those sides of the building will be primarily used for service for the retail and commercial spaces.
Is not in project, is that, are you trying to acquire that land or have you tried to acquire that land?
The owner has tried to acquire nearly all the land here, and these are the pieces that they have not been able to assemble. There's also some property adjacent to us that's owned by a nonprofit that we're in discussions with partnering with them.
Quick question, back to the coffee shop thing. You know, the trend lately has been to have more space inside for meetings and stuff. How much interior space will be devoted to that coffee shop?
Right now, the coffee shop, its size is to be determined. The space that it would be in is 4,300 square feet, which is too big for most coffee shops.
Yeah.
But the idea of the owner is that this will become a community hub and space for people from the neighborhood to meet and likely have some form of formal or informal meeting space.
So I don't see the order board on there. Is it along that drive somewhere then?
What was that? Sorry?
I say, I don't see the order board on there. Where is that located?
The order board is located, roughly.
Where that tree is,
It'd be in here. It'd be 4 cars deep. Somewhere on the way back down to Q Street there.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Are there any other proponents that wish to speak? Any
Thanks, Eric.
opponents? Nope, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Eric?
Yeah, so we have 2 agenda items on this. As you read, agenda item 6 is the plat and the rezoning and providing the MCC overlay. That's all pretty straightforward. And then the PUR, the planned unit redevelopment, as well as a conditional use permit for the use type in the CC district is agenda item 15. So yeah, we discussed about kind of the history of the site and the site plan review, and they previously did propose more residential units, and staff was just not comfortable with the amount of parking provided. So, in those conversations, they obviously modified their plan, which is here before the board, and we're excited. It's a great project. We are comfortable with the amount of parking that is being provided as discussed in the report as well as in the pre-meeting. Few tweaks, few plans to get worked out, and we'll continue to work with the applicant as we move forward. So I think it's a really good project for this area. So a lot happening in this area, so that's great for South Omaha. And so regarding agenda item 6, so we'll take 2 votes separately here on this matter. Yeah, you bet.
We've already voted on the TIF at a different unit count. Does that get adjusted behind the scenes, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we will be coordinating that internally. I don't know at this time if anything needs to come back to the planning board or where that status is. So I don't have a perfect answer for you, but that is something that we're
Case by case basis
coordinating.
when that happens.
It is, yeah. And, you know, usually with a TIF redevelopment plan, which is what you are voting on and approving, it doesn't get to the level of detail, especially of what you would see with a PUR. So I wouldn't anticipate it coming back, but I'm not sure. There's two members of the TIF committee that sit up there and one in the crowd that, you know, I would probably defer to. So
More of a process question. Don't
Yep.
want to waste any more time, add more time.
Yep, no, and that's something that we're on and that has to be factored in, so.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so for agenda item 6, staff recommends approval of the MCC overlay, approval of the rezoning from GI to CC, approval of the preliminary plat subject to the 3 conditions in the report, and approval of the final plat subject to final subdivision agreement if necessary prior to city council.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Any other questions? If not, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the expansion of the MCC overlay, approval of the rezoning from GI to CC, and approval of the preliminary plat subject to the following 3 conditions, and approval of the final plat subject to the conditions of the preliminary plat approval and submittal of an acceptable final subdivision agreement prior to forwarding the request to city council for final action.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Sotolongo?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Rupert?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Tondal?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Approved 7-0.
Thank you.
For agenda item 15, staff recommends approval of the PUR subject to submittal of final plans prior to city council and approval of the conditional use permit to allow multifamily in the CC district subject to the 6 conditions in the report.
Okay, thank you, Eric. You have a motion.
Motion to approve the PUR planned unit redevelopment overlay district subject to submitting acceptable final PUR development plans prior to forwarding to the request to city council, and approval of the conditional use permit to allow multiple family residential in the CC district subject to the 6 conditions in staff report.
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Morris?
Yes.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Tondal? Yes. Sotolongo?
Yes.
Moore? Yes. Rupert? Yes. Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Approved 7-0.
Thank you. Thank you. Good luck. Okay, the last item then that we have on the agenda is item 18, KC 818-231. Applicant is MS Walkup Investments LLC. The request is approval of a major amendment to a special use permit to allow agricultural sales and service in an AG agricultural district. Property is also located within the FF Flood Fringe Overlay District. The location is 1701 North 252nd Street. May we hear from the applicant? Is the applicant here? No?
What's that?
What? Are you here for this case?
No, I think I showed up a little bit late, so I think I missed ours.
Okay, which case was it? Yeah, we already voted on that one. Yeah, we laid that over. Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, applicant's not here. Any proponents? Any opponents?
What are you here for?
That was on consent for approval, and it was approved
Correct.
earlier on, okay?
Sorry you had to wait.
Was it a fun meeting for you? Good. Thank you. You do the same. All right, I close the public hearing. No testimony, so Eric?
Yeah, I won't elaborate here since there's only city staff and board members to hear this. We went through it in detail in the pre-meeting. Obviously, there's a lot of issues that need to be remedied. The intent was to have the applicant here present to ask some questions, but they have set up a meeting with staff next week, so staff recommends layover.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to lay over.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Tondal?
Yes.
Sotolongo?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Rupert?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
Approved 7-0.
thank you. Now you now need a motion to approve the minutes from the September 3rd, 2025 meeting, for both pre-meeting and regular meeting.
To approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Tondal?
Yes.
Sotolongo?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Rupert?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
Approved 7-0.
thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Kathy, please record the vote.
Sotolongo? Yes. Moore?
Yes.
Rupert?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Tondal? Mr. Chair?
Yes,
Approved 7-0.
thank you.